I ride the metro to work every day. It's about a 2-hour commute both ways. And despite having taken the same route for 4 years, this is the first time anything like this has happened to me. It started off innocently enough. I was just riding home, listening to my podcast, and generally being exhausted, when a man got on at one stop. He was wearing a safety vest and work boots. This wasn't weird in and of itself. Construction workers often hop on, and you see a lot of them, especially since our metro is always under construction during the summer. It did draw my attention at the time, though, enough so that I looked up. I turned back to my phone after glancing at him, but apparently not fast enough. We made eye contact, and he said something. I took my headphones off. "Excuse me?" I said, "Do you know what time it is?" I looked at my watch, gave him the time, and started to put my headphones back in, before I could press play again. "Do you know what universities are around here?" Okay, the guy didn't look uni-age, but I figured he'd still had the right to ask. Maybe he was meeting someone. I was already starting to get a bad vibe, but I pointed out the 2 universities that I knew about, and I thought it would be the end of that particular conversation. No luck. He moved so that he was sitting behind me and started rattling on about how he wanted to go back to school, for criminal justice no less. I was incredibly uncomfortable and tried to turn so that I could see him better, which I guess he took as a sign of interest. He brought up his son who was in his 20s and his wife who had left him, and his other wife who had also left him and he had a daughter with. I responded mechanically, too tired to keep up with the conversation, and painfully conscious of the fact that my stop was about 40 minutes away, and that no one else in the car seemed to be paying this any attention. I guess I could have moved seats, but it's something that didn't occur to me at the moment. I was still trying to convince myself that it was a normal conversation, a guy just trying to pass the time to his next stop. The conversation turned to me. He wouldn't stop telling me how pretty I was and asking me questions about my life, which I kind of verbally batted aside. I finally told him I was in school, and he faked surprise. "You're younger than my son, but you talk so grown. You're younger than him." Yeah, no shit, dude. I don't look old, and I was wearing my glasses, which I have consistently been told make me look like I'm still in high school. I thought maybe this would make him back off, but no dice again. He really started piling on the compliments. The conversation started to look a little bit like this. "You're so pretty." "Thanks." "No, really, you're so pretty. Do you have a boyfriend?" "Yep." "Wow, does he tell you you're pretty?" "Yep, all the time." "What kind of stuff does he tell you?" And just on and on like this. I got called pretty about 10 times a minute. At this point I was getting pretty freaked out and texted my dad to pick me up at my stop. I'd usually just walk home. While I was texting, the guy leaned over the seat towards me. "What's your name?" I kinda batted that one off too, so he decided to try from another direction. "Okay, well, I work most of the week, and I'm only available on Saturday, so can I call you?" I told him I didn't give out my number, and he got insistent. Only a few stops left to my stop, though, so I figured if I kinda shut down, he might leave me alone. I gave him a hard no, and then stopped responding. He sat in silence behind me for a while. I popped an earphone back in. I thought that maybe it was over. "You know, I can tell you're pretty without your glasses." If you've been following this story, you can probably guess the pattern by now. Next couple of minutes, compliments that were very thinly disguised attempts to get me to take my glasses off. Literally all I was saying at this point was yes and thank you and glancing at the stop counter. Suddenly he got up. At first I thought he was going to sit next to me, and prepared to finally get up and move. Too little too late, I know. But he said, "This is my stop," and stuck out his hand. I was so relieved he was leaving that I actually took it. Biggest mistake of my week. Before I could react, he took my hand and rubbed it all over his face. I'm talking all over, eyes, cheeks, lips. I got a guided tour. I went numb, and I'm pretty sure my face just kind of crumpled in disgust. He let go, and I was still sitting there, just looking at my hand like nothing. I can't describe how disgusting it was. I could feel his face all the way home. He said it was nice to meet you and left cheerful as anything. I spent the first 10 minutes at my house running my hand under hot water. Metro guy, let's not meet. Hey scaredy cats, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on any of the stories. If you have any stories that you'd like for me to read, you can find the links for submissions in the description below.